Has AI taken over Canadian visa offices completely? Would you be comfortable with your visa officer being a robot? Watch this video for more. हेलो एवरीवन, नमस्ते सभी जानालाय, आप सभी को मैं स्वागत करती हूँ. वेलकम बैक टू श्री टॉकीज कैनेडा. Guys, I'm really glad to be in front of you guys once more, coming out with another important video. And before I start, I'd actually like to thank all of you guys for your love and support, and for all the encouragement, even if from afar. I've crossed, or we have, let's say, reached an important milestone of 500 subscribers in the first 2 weeks. So it's been extremely positive, and I have been receiving a lot of support, and really it does give me the energy and the confidence to show up and to just come up with more videos and provide content that is even more engaging and something that you guys can look forward to. So thank you so much for all of your love and support. I really do appreciate it, and I promise to continue with as much enthusiasm with the love and support from you guys. So thank you, and I hope you will continue to support me as I navigate my way forward, and that we will continue to build this family and sort of build a tribe of people who want to stay informed and build a tribe of people who are engaged. So thank you so much again. Now today's topic is something that's been doing the rounds, and a lot of people are talking about it lately, which is the creeping in of AI and big data in the world of immigration. So are robots making all of the decisions, or what's really the role of AI in the visa decision-making process? And it is a curious question, and it's a topic that a lot of people are interested in because there's so much at stake, and a lot of people want to know the methodology of how visa decisions are made, and to get behind the whole process so that they can prepare better application packages and represent themselves better. Now, for context, we know that AI and big data are not, are not hidden terms anymore, are not terms that, aren't very broadly spoken about in a lot of different scenarios. A lot of employers are using it to do sort of checks on people they're going to hire, etc. A lot of government agencies are using it. So, for example, in Canada, it's not just IRCC. We have the Canada Border Services Agency, CBSA, so many other government agencies and private employers too, using AI and big data all the time to sort of, extrapolate data and really aid the decision-making process. Now, this system is the use of, let's say, algorithms, or a use of set formulas to extract data or extract data points from where information is available in bulk. So, systems like, say, regression or a rule-based system or machine learning, deep learning, all of this is used to really extract data that is important where where information is available in bulk. Right now, there are lots of pros and cons, like there are pros and cons to pretty much anything and everything. Even to the use of AI and big data, there are a lot of pros and cons. Now, if I talk about pros, a lot of people say, well, decision making aided by AI makes it neutral, makes it consistent, it makes it logical, right? Because it's a formula at play. It's decision making that is mechanized. But as far as the cons are concerned, the fact that there is no human element in decision making also makes it not holistic, right? Because a lot of factors might be overlooked. It can easily be manipulated. Data can be created so that it can look positive, or so that it's molded a certain way. So there are pros and cons, and in the context of immigration too, there are people who advocate for it, and then there's another school of thought that says, well, immigration decisions without the human touch is really unfair, and it shouldn't happen at all. So in the world of immigration, this particular use of AI and big data is not new. It's come to this big sort of news has come to the fore lately, but AI has been used for a while by IRCC, and it was around 2017 when it was trialed. Now, Canada receives a lot of applications every year. I mean, I work for the New Zealand High Commission, but compared to the visa to our visa processing teams and the volumes that we handled, the magnitude and the number of applications that Canada receives is pretty much is astoundingly high. We're talking about a backlog right now of 1.8 million. So that'll give you an estimate of just the inflow. So Canada, therefore, has been trialing AI with countries where the volumes are particularly high. So for Canada, the high volume markets are China and India. So in 2017, IRCC trialed a preliminary sort of triage system whereby AI was being used to extract important data points from all of the applications that came from China. So they were using algorithms, formulas, etc. To extract really all of the preliminary information that allowed visa officers to arrive at a decision quickly. But this news, or this whole now artificial intelligence is being used by IRCC, all of this news came to the fore as rather breaking news recently because a lot of, say, consultants, lawyers, applicants themselves have been noticing that there are decisions that are being made a certain way, or there have been bulk declines, or there were also cases where multiple decline letters were signed by, there was this weird coding, which when ATIP requests were sent, people realized that it wasn't a visa officer, that it was all being tied down to AI and a system and a formula that they were using. So that's why it's become particularly controversial today, and there's a lot more chatter around it. Now, IRCC is using a system called Chinook. So their AI, it's a VB system, a Visual Basic System, but the software is Chinook. And what happens is visa officers are able to get all of the major data points in applications in a single spreadsheet. So if I were a visa officer with IRCC, every morning when I logged in, Chinook, which is the software, would basically give me a spreadsheet with hundreds of applications in one spreadsheet and with all of the important data points. So age, purpose for visit, or if it was study visa applications, the designated learning institute they were going to, the age, how many years of experience, do they have any criminal record, what about their health, etc. So it would give me all of the important data points that would allow the officer to make some preliminary decisions before they went and delved into the case in detail to get to a final decision. So that's what the role of AI is. It's not really that a robot or is looking at an application and deciding, well, it's an approval or decline. There is still the human element that is very much required, which means the visa officer is still has it still overlooks the entire decision-making process. But there are a lot of preliminary triage steps that AI has control of that allows the visa officer to look at a whole lot of information really, really quickly. Now, there's also a lot of decision-making pressure on visa officers just with the number of applications and the volumes that Canada deals with. So in a way, it really is facilitating the decision-making process. But the problem is that sometimes what happens is that in applications, there's a whole lot more information than just sort of basic data points, isn't it? That it's the story of someone's life that has been presented holistically in an application. Now, when you're just extracting bits and pieces from here and there and basing your decision on it, a lot of people tend to feel that it's unfair, that my story as it has been represented hasn't been considered in all of its fullness and in the entirety of what's been presented. So that's really sort of the argument around it, and those are the concerns. That in a lot of applications, agents or the applications themselves can create these data points to make it look wonderful, whereas if the officer was looking at it and assessing it in detail, these things could have been caught or could have not been overlooked that a machine might be able to, right? So those are the concerns. Now we will get to what can you do about it. Now the first thing is to not worry too much about this whole system because a lot of ATIP requests have been sent to IRCC, and I can assure you that there are still visa officers very much sitting and doing their work, that visa officers have not been deemed obsolete as of yet, and that they continue to be involved in the decision-making process, and visa officers are putting in GCMS notes for applications that they are assessing, and that they are required to explain in fair length why they're arriving at a certain decision. So if it's a decline, they have to justify the decline, put in notes. If it's an approval, they have to justify it still, and also tie it to instructions. So according to immigration instructions or IRPA 5.13a or whatever it is, I'm approving the application because of the following reasons. So there's still a rationale or justification that visa officers have to provide, but of course AI is involved in a lot of the preliminary steps, as I mentioned. So what you can do to augment your application, or to basically not be caught in the clutches of the AI system, is to be smart about presenting your data. So in the first page of your submission letter itself, you have to make a compelling case about why you are putting in the application, or you have to make a compelling case for why you deserve to be approved. So if you're coming in as a visitor to Canada, and this AI system, by the way, is being used largely on temporary resident applications. So for visitor visa applications and students in general, this sort of pre-filtration system is being used widely. So if you're coming to Canada, or if you plan to come to Canada as a tourist, then on the very first page of the submission letter itself, you have to be explicitly clear about what you're going to do, what your itinerary is, what exactly is your visit about. If you have friends and family in Canada, have all of that mentioned. If you're coming here as a student, even more important, it has to be concise, and you have to be very, very clear about why you are taking up a particular course in Canada, how that is going to augment your academic and professional pursuits, and what you plan to do after you complete your course. Right? So all of it has to be very, very clear. What you should not do is to resort to, these very template-ish letters that are now a little bit dated and are a little bit archaic. And a lot of consultants in India, etc., still use it. They're just changing the names and using the same sort of verbiage, and it's all, it's not very original. And a lot of it is very plagiarized, and it just kind of just reads old. So what you shouldn't do is use templates that are just available online, or go to consultants that have been using the same template over and over again. You have to indulge in some very, very clever writing, or go to someone who will be able to help you put your best foot forward in terms of representing your application. You also have to be very, very careful about declaring all of your information correctly on forms, because if there's a certain portion of the form that is missing, or that you've overlooked, or you thought wasn't important, and if that is then misconstrued as you hiding something, or willful non-declaration, that is going to have significant ramifications. So pay attention to everything that you submit. Be careful about checklists. So there are if you go to the Canadian government website, there will be personalized checklists for every country. So India has a specific document checklist. Other countries have checklists that are specific to them. So make sure that you are following guidance as per the checklist of your country of residence, and that all of the documentation is clear. Sometimes in immigration, more is less. You have to be able to validate and provide supporting documents for pretty much all of the claims that you make on an application. So if you're working with a professional, be discerning about who you work with, and make sure that the writing and the quality of the written material you submit is really, really good. So these are the things you should do and shouldn't do, but there's nothing to sort of be overtly worried about, because this is sort of a natural progression. A lot of other agencies are also using AI and big data. I think it's here to stay, the technology, and so we have to sort of make peace with it, and also find ways of not subverting the negatives really, but a way of working with the system, and use the system to really augment your case. So I hope this was insightful in terms of what's happening with AI and big data and Chinook, the immigration software system that is being used widely. As I continue to get more information, and as the government, by way of ATID request, releases more information, I'm of course going to have a very hawkish gaze on everything that's happening in the world of immigration and come back to you with anything that is important, relevant, or will have a significant impact on your application. So if you are planning to come to Canada and if you found this useful, please give this video a like, share it with other people who might benefit from this information, leave a comment if you have concerns or if you have anything you want me to address, etc. But I hope you find this useful. And guys, this channel is not just about immigration and Canadian immigration, though by virtue of the fact that I am a licensed immigration practitioner here in Canada, I am a big stakeholder in the industry, and so I'm interested. And so also because I know there is quite a market for immigration news, I don't mind bringing to you anything that is relevant and topical. But I'm also very, very excited to bring to you news, content, just from outside immigration as well, because there's so much to talk about, a lot of empowering stuff that especially young viewers will take advantage of. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode, and I will see you on the next video, and I am until then sending all of you guys lots and lots and lots of love. Stay safe, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.